What if the very thing that earns you praise is what's quietly eroding you? Why does doing more leave you feeling less like a person and more like a product? They won't tell you to slow down. They'll just cheer louder as you burn. They don't need you to be well. They need you to be useful. Toxic productivity is the obsession with being useful at all costs. It looks like ambition on the outside. But inside, it's a quiet desperation to matter, to be enough, to stay safe through performance. In a world that glorifies output, rest becomes suspicious, and burnout becomes the baseline. Where does this compulsion come from? For many, it starts in childhood, when praise was only given for achievement, or love was earned by being good. Over time, productivity becomes emotional currency. You stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What else can I do?" The nervous system learns that stillness is unsafe. According to Dr. Gabor Mate, compulsive busyness is often a trauma response, a subconscious attempt to avoid the silence where emotional pain lives. For others, it's social conditioning. Capitalism rewards output, not humanity. So we adapt, we grind, and slowly, we disappear. Working hard isn't the problem. The need to always work hard is. There's a term in psychology, productivity addiction. It's when your brain's reward system becomes wired to treat task completion as emotional relief. You're not just finishing a to-do list, you're quieting the part of yourself that says, "You're not doing enough." Each checkmark is a hit of dopamine. Each email sent, a brief silence in the storm of self-doubt. The loop continues. Do more. Feel better. Crash. Repeat. Take the example of Maya, a college student juggling 2 jobs and a full course load. When she finally took a weekend off, she described it as suffocating. The quiet made her anxious. Not working made her feel invisible. We say grind culture like it's a trend. But for many, it's survival. Toxic productivity isn't passion. It's performance under pressure, when productivity becomes identity. Stopping feels like dying. We introduce ourselves by what we do. We measure days by what we accomplished. You're no longer a person. You're a resume in motion. But what happens when you're forced to stop? Psychologist Carl Jung warned that modern life suppresses the soul by neglecting the inner world. Without reflection, without space, the self becomes a brand, and your worth is tied to your output. On Reddit, one man shared that after being laid off, he couldn't enjoy his severance. "I felt like a ghost," he wrote. "No one needed me, so who was I?" This is the trap. You can't rest if your self-worth lives in motion. If you are only valuable when you're producing, what happens when you're still? Burnout used to mean collapse. Now, it wears a polished mask. High-functioning burnout is invisible. You hit deadlines, you smile, you check in on others. But you're numb, detached, and constantly exhausted. It's not passion driving you. It's pressure. This is known in corporate psychology as presenteeism, where workers are physically present but mentally absent. The APA reported in 2023 that nearly 80% of workers feel burned out. Yet most stay silent. Why? Because productivity is still a badge of honor. On TikTok, a freelancer described it this way: "I'm working 12-hour days, but all I feel is hollow. Everyone says I'm killing it, but I feel like I'm dying inside." You can't heal when everyone keeps applauding your collapse. Sometimes, the most burned out person is the one you praise the most. Toxic productivity isn't just personal, it's systemic. There's a reason we feel guilty for resting. We've been trained to believe rest is weakness. Corporations praise overachievers, while quietly punishing boundary setters. Hustle is branded as culture, overwork framed as opportunity. Even self-care has been commodified. Meditation apps, productivity planners, burnout merch, it's all sold back to you by the same machine that wore you down. It's not healing. It's marketing. And the cruel irony? The more you produce, the more they expect. Productivity never satisfies the system. It only feeds it. The system doesn't need you to be happy. It just needs you to stay functional. But here's the quiet rebellion. You are allowed to exist without proving anything. You are more than your output. You are more than the applause. And you don't have to earn rest through exhaustion. Healing starts with one radical act. Stopping, even briefly. Sitting in the stillness. Letting discomfort pass. Letting presence return. No one's coming to give you permission. So give it to yourself. You're not a machine. You don't need to be optimized. You just need to be whole. If silence feels like failure, maybe you were taught to confuse peace with danger. Protect your energy. Stay curious. Subscribe for more from Beneath the Cortex.